My lords, today I bring report on an interesting empire indeed. The empire in question is known as Minamar Specialized Industries, or MSI for short. They are a megacorp, as the name suggests, but they have a very niche industry. This megacorp specializes in uplifting pre-FTL primitives, providing them with technology and resource to enter the galactic stage, and then taxes them, quite heavily indeed. It is a somewhat bizarre and cruel operation. It is of no surprise that they also deal heavily in slaves, which they acquire often as a result of uplifted empires' inability to pay their extortionate levies, taxes, and tariffs. In this report I shall detail all that we know about MSI, including go into detail about two specific empires who both broke their shackles and delivered some payback to this evil megacorporation. But of course we shall start with the detail on MSI. MSI operate as fanatic materialists, as well as having an authoritarian style of government. They have two key civics: indentured asset, i.e. they specialize in large indentured workforce. This has little to do with the barbaric practice of slavery. The workers are merely paying off debts indefinitely. And their second civic is public relations specialist, i.e. if you can control what someone thinks, you can also control their behavior. MSI has a virtual army of specialists ready to engage in battles of public opinion. Further to this, they have a small bio available on their Galcom page. This reads, "From the moment the board of directors at Minamar Specialized Industries first delivered civilization to the stars, we have understood that the galaxy was too beautiful not to be shared. Since then, we have worked tirelessly to help less developed civilizations achieve faster than light travel. Enlightenment may not be free, but MSI is always worth the cost." Quite amusingly, their Galcom page has a community note, which reads, "Styling themselves as a benevolent corporation, Minamar Specialized Industries offers technological advancement to undeveloped civilization. Thanks to the company's aggressive protocols and the galaxy's standing pool of indentured labor, shareholders are guaranteed a handsome return on investment." MSI's homeworld is a relic world named Lionessus in the Romstron system. MSI's main founder species is known as the Olinbar. They are charismatic, intelligent, decadent, and wasteful. Oddly, their names appear to be extremely similar to that of an ancient human empire called the Romans. Sadly, we have no further data to explain this. The Olinbar are relatively few in number. Despite occupying several planets, there are more slaves of various alien species across their empire than there are Olinbar themselves. Finally, and again quite oddly, the Olinbar people appear to have a tomb world habitability preference, despite their capital being a relic world. This is something I cannot explain. Personality modelling suggests that MSI will prefer to pick on weaker targets, potentially those who are already in a war. They will attempt to subjugate and vassalize rather than claim territory. Aliens and robotic life will be subject to slavery under their rule, and of course where possible, they will infiltrate primitive life and uplift them once they reach a machine age level of technology. Although I am confident that MSI will accelerate an alien technology progression where it sees value in doing so. They are led by Chief Officer Turlish Cordus and operate an oligarchic style of government with elections every 20 years. MSI have a unique warship which can double up as a starbase in specific circumstances. They call them Client Fulfillment Centers. The Client Fulfillment Centers are remarkably advanced considering MSI's technological capability at time of viewing. These fulfillment centers come equipped with 6 kinetic batteries and 6 bays for strikecraft, although at this time only 3 of the hangar bays were filled. It's a similar story with the defensive capabilities. Although the ship appears to have 16 hardpoints for armor plating and shield arrays, only 8 are occupied. I wonder if this is some small corporate oddity at play, where they only fit their ships with enough to bully smaller empires into submission, and no more. No expense spared, perhaps. The most interesting component by far though is the cloaking technology, which while not the most advanced in the galaxy, is certainly passable. MSI operate a somewhat loose racket, which we shall hear more about when I cover the Roc resistance. But in brief, if an empire breaks off from MSI's benevolent servitude, they will be threatened with war and/or reparation payments. Empires will be told to provide scaling energy every 15 years in the region to 5,000 to 10,000 energy credits. If an empire cannot pay, MSI will demand slaves instead. Refusal is generally met with military conflict. So we've covered MSI in the abstract, but I shall now detail two empires who know MSI far better than we do. They are the Free Peoples of the Fall and the Roc Resistance. I shall cover the Free Peoples of the Fall first. They were a people who broke free of their shackles and rose to become powerful in their own right. Nithara was less than 16 standards old when the debt collectors came. Her family was destitute, her world impoverished. Sold into servitude, she endured unimaginable hardship. Yet her will was unbroken, and when the opportunity came, she seized it. Staging a mutiny aboard the slaver ship that she was upon, she led the survivors of the crash through those first difficult years. It was her strength that kept the peoples of Freedom's Landing together, her wisdom that forged a nation from broken chains. Free at last, some were born into bondage, others, crippled by debt, found themselves sold as indentured labour. But the technology of our former masters was not enough to save them. In secret, we planned our mutiny. During the brief, bloody struggle, our captors were killed, and their slave ship critically damaged. An emergency landing left us stranded on the surface of Freedom's Landing. Though we are made up of species from many different worlds, under my leadership, we have found common cause. In time, the damaged systems of our slaver vessel will be repaired, and its bounty of secrets, including the location of our former homeworlds, will be revealed. Our shackles are broken. Now, the work begins. We must start by repairing and salvaging what we can from our former prison, the slaver's ship. Regarding the computer core of the crashed slaver ship, we hope it will reveal the location of our former homeworlds, as well as the location of Minamar Specialized Industries, the slaver Megacorp who took us. Uniting against our former masters was easy. With a common enemy, we struggled together and fought as one. But with freedom, cracks have begun to appear. We are a people of many worlds. Over 10 species now live in this settlement. New factions are beginning to be founded. More will surely follow. As a people, how we will navigate these differences will determine our fate. During the mutiny, the slaver ship that carried us to Freedom's Landing was badly damaged. After the crash, our first priority was survival, and other than stripping the ship for resource, we gave it little thought. But now, the time has come to uncover the secrets of our former masters. To do so, it will be necessary to restore power to the ship's central computer. As a first step, our VIN engineers rigged a series of solar cells to the ship's outer hull. The command consoles in the bridge are now operational. Unfortunately, the engineering deck was sealed off during the crash, and breaking through the blast doors won't be easy. I'll say this much for MSI. The slave-holding scum know how to safeguard their secrets. Prying open the ship's blast doors has proven a monumental task. What few laser cutters we possess were designed for low-scale mining operations. Only by tunneling up from the deck below were we able to make any progress. The VIN engineers have been able to restore power to the ship's computer core. However, a significant chunk of hardware was damaged in the crash. It should be possible to repair and decrypt it, but doing so means putting even more of our strain on our already overburdened science team. Thanks to some incredible out-of-the-box thinking, our engineers have managed to restart the damaged computer core. By introducing a procedural AI into the ship's systems, we were able to engage it in dialogue. Essentially, we convinced the machine to work with us, rather than against us. This breakthrough has provided our scientists with new insights into the nature of data encryption. As we continue to make strides into the galactic stage, we hope this could prove invaluable. The damaged computer core has finally been repaired, and while most of the data is encoded, decryption efforts are already underway. If we are willing to put in the time and allocate the resource, it's only a matter of time before we have access to everything, including the location of our former homeworlds. In fact, we may have already learned something to our advantage. By triangulating the hyperlane dilations along the slaver ship's flight path, we have uncovered the galactic coordinates of MSI. We are now left with a choice: confront them, or leave them to their fate. The former slave ship has finally been completely repurposed and stripped of all valuable parts. We have come a long way since claiming our freedom. Our technology has advanced to the point that there are few secrets remaining, But we must never forget the sacrifices of the past. The crashed slaver ship will be converted into a public memorial, commemorating the birth of our new nation. Today was a marvellous day in the history of the people of Freedom's Landing. After the mutiny, there were some among us who said that we should go our separate ways. They argued that Freedom's Landing was not our home, that we were nothing more but a motley band of indentured assets, and the challenges before us were too great to overcome. But with the building of our first outpost, we've shown exactly what a free people can accomplish. The only limit is our own imagination. We push forward into the stars. As a people of many worlds, integration has not been without its challenge. However, the synthesis of a diverse artistic traditions has resulted in an incredible amount of creative energy. New products are being promoted. Countless artists and designers have emerged, all inspired to push the boundaries of expression. Domestic industry is thriving, and our people have never been more engaged with one another's culture. Not long after the first outpost was established, we have settled our first world. Our colony ship has found a rare patch in an open ground in the jungles of Castor Prime and made planetfall. The landing site is surrounded on all sides by lush vegetation, and sentry drones have been deployed to guard against predators. The colony ship has been permanently converted into the administrative headquarters of the new settlement, and its reactor core is in the process of being removed so that it may serve as the colony's temporary power source. Hundreds of small tents and prefab shelters have sprung up around the former starship's massive hull, as colonists begin to disembark in the large numbers, the first of hopefully many new settlements on this alien world. Established factions and fledgling movements alike have taken an unusually keen interest in our new colony on Castor Prime. From the moment we announced settlement on this modest moon, nearly every political voice in the Free Peoples of the Fall has had something to say about it. Our analysts don't suspect that anything truly radical is taking root on Castor Prime, but they advise caution. It's clear our various political entities intend to campaign vigorously on this burgeoning world. I'm pleased to announce the data from the slaver ship's computer core has finally been decrypted, and we've been fortunate enough to identify several of our homeworlds. Feelings are mixed, but ultimately we will celebrate another step on the road to liberation. Our political scientists have been observing Castor Prime with keen interest. However, despite some feverish campaigning and a lot of recent fuss in the media, they forecast a fairly typical outcome for the colony's future. Our researchers note that no news amounts to good news here. Despite what some fringe elements in our society may claim, there are as of yet no signs that Castor Prime is being moulded into a hotbed of autocracy. Democracy remains a founding principle there, for now. Our people found a homeworld today. Asak 3, at last, we have returned. As a people, we have experienced unimaginable trauma. Stolen from our homes, forced into bondage, the life of an indentured asset was often one of brutal suffering. Even for those who passed their days in relative comfort, the shame of indenture lingers. Now reunited with our kin, we can finally begin to heal. But in our joy, we must never lose sight of the fact that we are a people of many worlds. No matter our origins, every one of us deserves the chance to return home. Our former masters did their best to break us. Today, the whole galaxy is a witness to their failure. We are now finding homeworlds more regularly. My own still eludes me, but I still hold out hope. In casting off our shackles, we took the first step to becoming a people. However, after many of our people began to return to our former homeworlds, that sense of shared purpose has begun to wane. Popular media is awash with highly romanticized depictions of the simple life enjoyed on our former homeworlds before the arrival of MSI. Many people are starting to return. If we are not careful, this could have a serious, destabilizing effect on our society. Despite this, I thought it was important to remind our people no one has the right to tell them where to live. Freedom of movement is a fundamental right. If they wish to return to their homeworld, they may. This decision did come at some cost. I'm told we are suffering a brain drain. Some of our brightest minds have made the decision to relocate. I believe, however, this is a worthy sacrifice to uphold our basic principles, and despite the brain drain, new ideas on how to approach things are flourishing. People are stepping up to fill their place. We shall prevail. Today was a monumentous and terrifying day. It's one that has been widely anticipated for some time since we began to find our homeworlds. We have made contact with MSI. After the mutiny, some hoped that we could avoid detection, but it is now clear that MSI has been aware of our presence on the galactic stage for some time. Only the pursuit of profit has kept them from returning to Freedom's Landing to collect their legal assets. It seems we weren't worth the cost of travel. Despite this, they had a message for us. It reads, our erstwhile assets. You have no idea how good it is to see you again. On behalf of the board at Minamar Specialized Industries, allow me to be the first to congratulate you on the progress you and your people have made. It is no small thing to have come so far from such humble beginnings. Should you need anything, don't hesitate to contact us. We hold no grudges. After all, less developed societies cannot truly be held accountable for their actions. In that regard, you are very much like children. A short message, condescending of course, and as ever, our defensive stations remain on alert. I'm happy to write today I finally found my own homeworld, where I was taken from so long ago. We have set up an observational post in orbit around Falmir 3. From this vantage point we can celebrate the success of our kind, and if necessary, help them to mitigate their challenges. As we move forward, I ask myself a new question. Should we leave them in peace, or help them reach the stars? Both choices carry risk and their own rewards, and I do long to return home. We found another homeworld today, Lissus 5. Something was very wrong here. From orbit we detected no signs of sentient life. Somehow the entire population had been eliminated. There were signs of struggle, and our best guess is that a robotic lifeform landed on the planet and exterminated all of the people who once lived here. A very disturbing thought. One of the scientists working at the observation post orbiting Falmir 3, my old homeworld, has been reported missing. They were taking part in a covert mission to collect plant samples from the planet's surface, but did not return to the shuttle with the rest of their team. We have been conducting a limited search so as not to alert the pre-FTLs. So far, without success. Several weeks have now gone by, and we are receiving strange reports from our observers above Falmir 3. One of the native kingdoms have rallied under a mysterious religious figure, and we have seen evidence of them using advanced technology, far beyond their current level of development. Could this be related to our missing scientist? Another few weeks passed, and we received a message from the missing scientist. It reads, "Greetings friends, it has been some time. Firstly, I want to apologise for all the effort you've put into looking for me. My disappearance on Falmir 3 was entirely intentional. The pre-FTLs here have come to see me as something of a god. And why shouldn't they? After much deliberation, I've decided to bring true civilization to these FTLs. I was tired of the short-sighted ethical constraints, tired of the ridicule I suffered at the hands of my peers. Most of all, I was tired of passive observation. What nonsense it is. I believe it is duty to interfere with pre-FTL cultures, to guide and shape them along a path of our choosing. Observing quietly from the sidelines is a shameful way of skirting responsibility. We of course demanded the scientist report for immediate extraction. He responded, "It is too late for that, I'm afraid. I'm done taking orders from those beneath my station. My intellect was at your disposal, but you chose to squander it. Here I am treated with the respect I deserve. This is my home now. With my knowledge and the technical schematics I brought with me, I would jumpstart this culture and usher in a golden age." He was accused of insanity. On the contrary, I've never been more lucid. The death of the free peoples of the Fall is inevitable. You'd have to be blind not to see the signs. It may take anything from a decade to a century, but your downfall will come after you have finished destroying yourselves with inaction. The galaxy will belong to vibrant young cultures, such as the one I am in the process of building. There is little more to say. I bid you farewell. What followed was some alarming reports from the surface of Falmir 3. It looks like our rogue scientist is consolidating power. They have given one of the few rogue feudal kingdoms access to advanced weaponry, and they are now in the process of conquering the rest of the planet in their name. A plan has been proposed to forcibly extract them, but it will require significant ground forces, and there is no telling what effect this will have on the native population, as many have come to see him as a god. I ordered an operation to remove the scientist. I can only hope that he has not caused too much damage. I'm pleased to announce that we successfully extracted the rogue scientist from Falmir 3. Hundreds of pre-FTLs were tragically gunned down when they launched suicidal attacks against our forces, futile attempts to protect their god. Our legal system will deal with the scientist, but the impact of events on the planet's population will be immense. They still possess some of our technology, and their deity has just been spirited away by invaders from the stars. Yet more terrible news from my once homeworld. During a clandestine mission to the surface, one of our shuttles was intercepted by a squadron of atmospheric fighters belonging to a nation state. A lucky missile hit disabled the shuttle's engines, and it crashed in a remote wilderness. We need to act fast to evacuate any survivors before the pre-FTLs reach them. All evidence of our presence must be removed. Sadly, we were unable to extract the survivors in time and they were executed. The natives are becoming more violent. Earlier today, a barrage of surface-to-space missiles were launched from the surface of Falmir 3 at our observation post. The station was utterly destroyed with no survivors. There can be no doubt that the pre-FTL civilization on the planet is continuing to advance at an incredible rate. Despite the fact that we removed the influence of their so-called god, the technology they gave them must have triggered a lasting scientific revolution. Inevitably, the people of Falmir 3 have finally reached out. They've made contact. Their message reads, "Spirits protect me. You look like our holy saviour, yet the differences are telling." They spoke of demons who would mimic their appearance and that one day would descend from the heavens to steal them away. The prophecy came true, and there is no doubt in my mind that it was your doing. Where is our holy saviour, wretched creature? I demand his immediate release. We calmly tried to explain that the scientist was not a god, and in fact just an alien attempting to act as one. Sadly, this did not go down well. The people of Falmir 3 responded, "Cease thy blasphemy. Slandering the name of the Holy Saviour is an unforgivable sin and punishable by death. It is only by their sacred implements that our civilization managed to achieve all that it has. I will forgive your trespass so long as you return the Holy Saviour to us." It seemed that they would not listen, so we had to explain that the scientist had been executed for the crimes against their people, and it appears that this did not go down very well. They threatened us, called us murderers, violent, treacherous demons, and cursed our empire. It appears that that's that. Due to the indiscriminate behaviour of a single individual, my people's homeworld is lost to us. For good. Many decades have passed. We have grown into a wonderful nation of all ethics and creeds, but MSI still remains. For too long we have lived in fear of our fallen masters. While we enjoy the benefit of a freedom justly earned, far too many continue to suffer. Some may decry this as a war of aggression. Nevertheless, the time has come for us to strike a blow against tyranny. No longer will the petty thugs and profit-mongers of the galaxy be allowed to apply their vile trade. Today, we march to war. That, my lords, ends the tale of the free peoples of the Fall. Now we will hear about the Rocan resistance. I have a report detailing a conflict between an avian species known as the Roc Rebels, who rebelled against MSI, pushing them off their planet, and in the years that followed battled their would-be oppressors. When the Rocs were selected by MSI as part of their Enlightenment program, their people rejoiced. Under corporate guidance, the avian race spread their wings and flew to the stars, only to discover that this gift came with a hidden cost. My lords, we have a first-hand account from the governor of the Roc Rebels. It reads, "We had a deal. When the visitors from the stars revealed themselves, they offered us a fair contract. Technological enlightenment, be repaid in installments. Within a generation, our planet was transformed into a so-called advanced civilization. It wasn't until we were advanced enough to understand the terms of the repayment were vastly inflated. The demand for energy would outstrip what we'd be able to produce for the next 500 years, and as such, MSI insisted we work for them on an indefinite term. When our leaders protested, MSI turned violent. But we fought back. We won, though barely, and only after suffering sizable losses. Now, our scientists have finally reverse engineered the secrets of FDL travel from the ships that we destroyed. It's a big galaxy out there, but sooner or later we're sure to meet our benefactors once again. In fact, we're looking forward to it. It's time to get some payback." The battle against the alien invaders left our home system full of debris, shattered warships and broken promises. The sheer amount of flotsam clattering up the area has made it hard to develop satellites and launch spaceships from Nog, our homeworld. Under the proposed cleanup project, specially designed construction ships will utilise nets to dredge the space in near orbit, allowing us to approach the deactivated MSI warship that still looms over our capital. The cleanup operation is underway. The amount of debris floating above Nog has been significantly reduced, and with clearing skies, our expectations for the future are also bright. Work continues, but things are looking better for the Roc people. Before long, the cleanup operation was completed. The warship that once threatened our homeworld still looms over us, a stark reminder of the fate we narrowly escaped. It is time to take back our skies and salvage the technological marvels contained within the wreck. We have launched science vessels in the hope to safely explore the now derelict vessel. Our sensors cannot detect signs of life within the derelict warship, and yet the engines still faintly buzz. Our machines are at work inside the empty halls. There is good reason to believe the ship is still operational, and attempts to board it are sure to awaken its security system. Our scientists proceed with caution. Back on Nog, our gene clinics, built by the invaders, are breaking down. We are going to end all illness. That's how the invaders won us over. We allowed them to build gene clinics in every major city across Nog, eradicating most of our worst diseases within a generation. Now, those clinics are breaking down, years of intense use causing the machines to grind to a halt. The proper functioning of the invaders' technology is beyond us. Can we reverse engineer it, or should we repurpose this poisoned gift into something truly our own? I believe we are intelligent enough to figure it out, and thus I ordered our engineers to attempt to repair the clinics. Though this will split our scientists thin between examining the warship and repairing the clinics, I hope it will be the correct decision. I was awoken this morning to klaxons blaring. Our deep space radar had picked up an object on an inbound vector approaching at remarkable speeds. We feared MSI had returned to exact revenge upon us. A small, self-propelled cache entered the edges of our home system, loudly announcing its arrival with a signal beacon. Once retrieved, the cache revealed its grim contents. A lengthy list detailing all of the military assets we destroyed during the rebellion against our invaders, complete with crew casualties and the estimated value of each destroyed vessel. Our former invaders are officially demanding war reparations. This despite the fact that they are the ones who invaded us. Even more outrageously, they also claim that all of the destroyed ships in our system are still their property, and any attempt to destroy, refit, or retro-engineer the wreckage will put us in breach of terms and conditions. According to the message, a debt collection agency will soon contact us to settle the matter. As if this news wasn't bad enough, the failings of the gene clinics continue to haunt us, and we have not yet been able to repair them. The loss of our gene clinics has precipitated a sharp decline in the quality of our healthcare. Genetic conditions and chronic illness that were once simple to cure are on the rise again, and our median life expectancy has returned to preoccupation levels. Public faith in the healthcare system has reached a new low, and some of our people are even starting to lament the departure of the invaders. I ordered a doubling down of investment in our medical research. The people must believe that we can thrive on our own. The Roc people will prevail. I've had word from our science teams trawling through the debris, repairing damage and securing rooms, turning the warship that once terrorized our world into a base of operations. Amidst the wreckage, we have uncovered the bodies of the ship's crew, or rather what's left of them. What to do with their remains became a matter of debate. Given the difficulties we've been having, it was deemed appropriate to hold a parade, with these corpses as the centerpiece. The Roc people shall see the defeated bodies of our would-be oppressors, as a reminder to stay strong. Our efforts repairing the gene clinics continue. Although steps are being made, progress is slow. A few doubters are starting to say it is too challenging. As costs and failures pile up, we should retrofit the clinics into a monument. Although I sympathise, these clinics will be important to the future of our people. They must be repaired. As we scour the warship's central database, the designs of our former masters have grown clear. The way that they approached us with enlightenment, only to train us to become better slaves. Their well-honed plans and protocols, their calculated lies. Our world was clearly not their first attempt, but rather an example of their core business strategy. I was again woken by klaxons blaring. 3 small spacecraft have appeared in orbit of Nog. Our sensors did not pick them up until they communicated with us. We think their vessels must have some sort of cloaking technology. They transmitted the following message. Dear Roc and Resistance, we are contacting you on behalf of the Minamar Specialized Industries regarding an outstanding debt. Being a fledgling spacefaring society, we understand that you may not be in a position to repay the full amount. Our aim is to aid you in selecting appropriate repayment plan. one which will settle any outstanding debts without stifling economic growth. Accordingly, we are happy to offer you a consultation, free of charge. It is our ardent wish that this matter be settled amicably. According to this debt collector, we owed approximately 1,481,893 energy credits. For perspective, our entire empire's output was barely 35 credits a month, and they wanted 5,000 a month for the next 60,000 years. The outrage rippled across our people. As if this wasn't insult enough, they continued. If you're unable or unwilling to cover the energy cost, you may repay your debt by pledging a certain percentage of your labour pool to MSI. Your workers will be transported to their designated job sites and will be provided with basic accommodation until they have successfully repaid the debt. Times are as hard as they've ever been, and this demand would either break us or forge us into the empire we wanted to become. It was discussed and decided within mere minutes. We had fought them once and won. We could do so again. The debt collectors were told to space themselves. Upon this, the transmission terminated, and the 3 small vessels opened fire on our system's defensive station. Fortunately for us, Admiral Raven had a small fleet of 10 corvettes hidden in system behind the great gas giant Orbis. Between Admiral Raven's fleet and our defensive station, the debt collectors' ships were utterly destroyed. A few months after the debt collectors had visited us, I had word from the scientists aboard the derelict warship. They had regained control of the ship's systems and were requesting what to do with it. We could repurpose it into an orbitable habitat for our people, or use it as a flagship for our Empire's fleet. It was once a mighty vessel, and it could be again. We decided to turn it back into a warship. The tools of our would-be oppressors would be vital in overcoming them once again. In more good news, our gene clinics have finally been repaired. Our former invaders would likely wave it off as a stroke of luck, or argue that they did most of the work. They could claim it is not a big feat to retro-engineer the technology, but we did it, without assistance, and that triumph is ours alone. We will take care of ourselves. In yet more good news, the retrofit of the former MSI warship has been completed. We now have at our disposal a vessel of massive power and significance. We believe it has the power of a small fleet of 20 or even 30 Corvette-class ships. This is a glorious day for the Roc people. Today I received word from the science vessel Hermes. They encountered a space vessel in the Koldak system during routine surveillance. Data on this vessel was met with a shudder of recognition. Familiar ship designs marked by an emblem we have learned to fear, the winged logo of the Minamar Specialized Industries. It appears that we have found our former invaders. It is only a matter of time until they realize the ships they sighted belong to us, fueled by their own technology. Again I was awoken by warning klaxons. I wonder if they are deliberately coming while I sleep. Another fleet of debt collector drones appeared in the orbit of Nog, their cloaking systems still able to confuse our sensors. They again gave us the same speech: pay up, either in credits or people. As before, we refused, Admiral Raven now commanding the repurposed MSI warship, making quick work of them, as again they tried to attack us. Despite the victory, a deep sense of dread lingers. Given their dedication to their employer, they will never stop harassing us. Even if we somehow manage to repay them the full sum, they will come up with something else. Interest rates, legal loopholes, small print hidden in documents that we don't remember signing. We have no choice but to fight them, with weapons. Words will get us nowhere. We have finally made contact with MSI. Communications are now open between the two empires, and we have grown much since our first encounter. They responded to the meeting with typical condescension. Their message reads, "How strange are the workings of the universe that we should come into contact with one another again, after all that has transpired. But never fear, on behalf of the board, Minamar Specialized Industries stands ready to assist you once again." Of course, we cannot simply overlook the damages incurred to company property. Our collection agents will no doubt be in contact with you soon, if they haven't done so already. We hope we will be able to reach an amicable settlement. We live in such interesting times, don't you think? Allow us to be the first to congratulate you on the incredible progress your people have made. We look forward to testing how much you've grown. This message left us in no doubt that they would come for us again. The question was when. We must prepare for that day. Alloy production plants and shipyards are being pushed to their absolute capacity. We must ready for war. It appears that time has come. We received a formal message this morning. MSI are coming for us. They're coming to reclaim their perceived goods. Their message reads, "The disappointment is heavy. As a company specializing in the enlightenment of less developed civilizations, we pride ourselves in our expertise. Yet, it has become abundantly clear that we have failed to impart some basic lessons. Rather than attacking others without cause, you alone must bear the responsibility for your failure. You are clearly in need of additional guidance. Let us teach you how to repay a debt." We spat at the feet of their messages. The Roc people are strong, stronger than we have ever been, and moulded, forged under a single purpose. The mega corporation of MSI must be defeated. Never again will we bow to an oppressor, and never again will MSI be allowed to violate and abuse less developed species. They shall pay for what they have done. It appears many decades of war followed this, my lords. Heavy losses were seen on both sides. I'm pleased to announce, however, the Roc Rebels triumphed. I imagine it was with real glee from the Roc people when the original warship that was to be the tool of oppression drifted into orbit of the MSI homeworld, Olimbar. Guns trained on the planet and offered them a choice, similar to what had once been offered to their own people. Pay reparations or face annihilation. The once mighty MSI corporation was forced to kneel to the Roc Rebels. Its military totally dismantled and teeth set up. MSI would never again be able to dominate less developed species. The Roc people, however, did not stop there. Although some suggested it was time to lay down their weapons, they pushed on, forcing a resolution through the Galactic Senate outlawing any abuse of power against pre-FTL civilizations, and committing to punish through conflict any empire who would replicate the despicable actions of MSI.